Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be all about the numbers that we did on our shirts only eBay store for the past year and also what we did during this past month. The number one goal was to break out into a new niche that we hadn't had any experience selling in. To add on to that goal, I wanted to see if we could do $3,000 in profit. And side note, I've had several questions about whenever I say profit, if that is also taking out the original item cost. And I always say yes, because getting your money back for the item is not profit. That is called reimbursement. So whenever I say profit, I mean net profit. So for the last month of the shirt store, when we had our biggest push, we were able to do just under $5,200 in sales. We did that selling 126 items with an average ASP of around $40. And ASP is item cost plus shipping. So if you break it down even more, you can say that on average, we would sell something for $30 plus $10 shipping. And we always profit off of shipping as well. If you aren't familiar with the eBay fee calculator, this is a great tool that will help show you exactly what your true net profit is. So I plugged and poked the numbers in there and it gave us on average for this past month, just a little over $23 per item. One of the biggest questions I got in this last video was how many we ended up listing on average per day. And I can't say that we were listing every day. There were a couple days that got skipped with the listings, and I tried making it up by doing a little bit more on the next day. So all in all, this last month, we were able to reach this goal by listing about 5 a day, selling about 4 a day, with a profit margin of about $24 per item. A lot of our items came from the Goodwill outlet, or what we call the bins. A lot of our items were paid per pound, and shirts are very lightweight. Even jackets, whenever you pay per pound, end up not costing that much. So our average cost of goods was about $4 per item. I did have a question on how many returns we got for this past month. I can happily say we got 1 return and lots of happy customers. So those are the numbers for the last month on our shirt store. So let's go ahead and check out the numbers of what the shirt store did over the course of a whole year. So it has been like a year and a week or two since we started selling shirts on eBay. And if you haven't seen it from start to finish, I highly recommend you do. It is way more fun watching it in the beginning whenever I was on the struggle bus, because I was starting from scratch. I didn't use our already established eBay store tools and supplies and equipment. I wanted to start it from 100% scratch. So those were the days, and they were very fun days. A lot of people comment about how it is some of their favorite times. And once everything was established within our shirt store and we had a smooth operation going, it was still fun making the sales, but it just wasn't the same as survival. But all in all, from 0 to today, the shirt store did $28,382.52 for sales. And what was sent to the bank account over the course of this year was $16,286.97. Our ASP over the course of the year is a little bit less than what it was in this past month, but we still averaged out having a $37 ASP, almost $38 ASP. So we're looking at about a $28 item plus $10 shipping. And we sold exactly 750 items. Our item cost is still the same as it was this past month, because we still do get a lot of our items from the bins with a little bit from the retail stores. The COGS for the shirt store are still on average of $4 per item. Because we weren't setting as high of standards and goals for ourselves for the shirt store in the beginning as we are now at the end, our profit margin over the course of the whole year is actually less than what we did in the last month. But our average profit per item over the course of the year was $19.56, which is great, because I've always wanted to push ourselves to have at least a $20 bill as our profit margin. So I'll take $19.56. It's close enough. I know a lot of you have asked like what we promote at, and during this time we were promoting on average 8%. As far as how many we've been listing and selling per day, we, like I said, did not do a very good job listing every single day. It's really hard to say what we actually listed on average, if you average out all the days within the year, because there were plenty of times where we had gone days without listing. And starting out, I didn't start listing high numbers or anything. I never wanted to list high numbers. I was trying to challenge myself using a high profit margin to not list as much. Some days I would only list 2 items, some days I would list 0, and some days I would list 7 items. We could probably safely average it out to still doing 5 listings a day, but it snowballed to that amount. So we didn't start right out the gate listing 5 a day. So those are all the numbers. Now let's talk about some of the best sales that we've had over the course of this year. There is a running theme that our top items that we've sold are all jackets. That's because jackets naturally will have more value in them than a t-shirt would, but because you still wear it on the top half of you, it fit the model that we had for this niche. So now that we're done with the number talk, let's talk a little bit about what we learned and what were some of our biggest mistakes. So as you may or may not know, we primarily are jeans and pants sellers, and that was what sparked this challenge to begin with, was to branch out into a new niche. That way we were able to get more sourcing opportunities, increase our listings, and make more money. And since jumping into the niche of shirts, tops, and jackets, we have found out that there are way more profitable items in that niche than we can find in the jeans and pants category. It was actually really surprising and really exciting, honestly. In the jeans and pants category, it is actually not that often whenever we come across an item that we can list for $100 or more. But whenever we started shopping for shirts and jackets, it was crazy how many of them we found that hit at least $100 list price. And we weren't searching as hard as we do with our jeans, because again, it was still something we were learning and honestly still on the back burner. It just blew our minds. There are a lot higher profitable items in the shirts and jackets category than there are in pants and jeans. There was a point in time where we sold the same amount dollar-wise on either store, but our shirt store had way fewer items that we had to package up than our jeans store. So it took way more jeans to equal what we did for the shirt store in sales that day. It was crazy. So not only are you finding higher profitable items, higher ASP items for your shirts and jackets, but just in general, across the board in the thrift stores and at the bins, they cost way less than jeans and pants do. Our average buy cost in the thrift store was about $5 for a shirt and like $1 or $2 at the Goodwill bins, whereas jeans are easily at least $10 in the thrift store and $4 at the bins. So with the shirts and jackets, we were getting a higher ASP and lower COGS, which meant a bigger profit per item. So I am definitely very happy now that we can start sourcing the whole thrift store, have way more opportunities to make much better money, and just all in all, it's gonna be a really healthy balance between a whole assortment of clothing in our store. Now, we did make some mistakes, even though we started this challenge already as seasoned professional eBay resellers. We still, going into this niche, fell onto some either bad habits or some rookie mistakes. It happens to the best of us. My biggest mistake whenever it came to learning this new niche was not giving myself enough time to research. Jeans are pretty standard, pretty basic. There's not a lot of nuance to them. Sometimes there is whenever you're dealing with like maybe vintage Levi's. However, whenever I started learning shirts and jackets, the amount of nuance that comes with it is astronomical. I have found myself severely underselling some major hits to the point where it would make us sick to our stomach with how cheap we were selling it for. And I have tried so many different ways to make sure that I give myself enough time to research. And even whenever I think I'm so diligent and so detailed and I have done the research and I'm confident in the pricing, as soon as I list it and it's sold immediately, I get that pitted feeling in my gut that I made a mistake. So then I go back, I do more research, and then I find out that I could have listed it for way more. I can't tell you how many times I've done that during this time. Like, I wasn't trying to do this intentionally or on purpose. It happened. I feel like I'm getting better and I'm becoming more and more knowledgeable in this niche, but it does take repetition and years of experience and exposure to obtain all this data and all this information on shirts and jackets. At that point, I had been doing it for less than a year. So I feel like overall, in general, I was doing an okay job, but there were some pretty big mistakes that I made. I asked Kyle what his biggest mistake was during this challenge, and he said that he was making a rookie mistake. Because he was sourcing at the bins and we were able to get shirts for $1 or $2, we hadn't experienced getting such cheap inventory before. So he said that he found himself justifying worse purchases just because he got it for really cheap. And like I was saying earlier in the video, our standards, like our metrics, our standards of what we had set for ourselves had increased throughout the year to the point now where we are wanting to have at least $20 profit and sell the item within 3 months or less. But when we first started out and being able to see that we can buy something for $1, we justified we only spent $1 on it. If we sell it for $6, we're still profitable. We definitely made the rookie mistake of picking up bad items that didn't bring in a good profit and would sit on our store for way too long just because we only got it for $1. But now we know better, and now we have our standards set up higher, and it's not a problem anymore. Now, a lot of you have asked what's our game plan and what are we doing with inventory that we already have on the shirt store. We didn't delete it, actually. I unlisted the leftover inventory and I've merged it onto our primary, like our main store. So now we have one eBay store that we're selling on, and both shirts, jackets, jeans, and pants all reside on that eBay store. I didn't use a fancy program or anything. I only had about 120 items that needed to be transferred over to our main store. So I just copy and pasted the title, put it into a new listing on our main store, saved the pictures, re-uploaded them, and listed it. That's all I did. I just did like maybe 10, 15 of them a day, and I was able to get it done fairly quickly. So our game plan from this point on is just to continue sourcing and listing the items that we find just like normal, just like any other reseller who sells clothing of all kinds. But it's really good to be here, and I'm really proud of what we did and what we learned. We have more confidence being shirts and jacket sellers now, and I can't wait to see what the next year brings now that we're able to incorporate a whole new category into what we're already doing. I think that is all the information that I can give you that will answer the majority of your questions. If you have any questions that I didn't answer in the video, then feel free to ask them in the comments and I'll get to you then. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.